What's happened in this last week in SimRacing, we'll tell you right here, right now. Greetings Romies and welcome to RomRom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and to our regular news roundup, our weekly sim racing news. Welcome to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. If you have any news for us, send us a mail to news@romrom.net. This news is dedicated to Andrew. Enjoy your tea and thanks for the chuckle. If you have been interested in Automobilista 2 but balking at the price and hearing the demo is outdated, we have good news for you as Raceroom dropped an update for the demo this week. Granted, it's still only Velocità and still those VW cars, but now it's got the 1.4.x physics. And at some point you will be able to drive with a Thrustmaster DD. That's right, that moronic marketing with "ooh, we have a secret and we're going to publish one tip every half a year" or whatever finally comes to an end, and it ends in what everybody already knew. Thrustmaster are coming way late into the game with a DD wheel. So late that even Logitech beat them to it. More on Logitech later in the video. Thrustmaster will present all the details on Twitch on the 17th of November. And one important thing, it may very well be there's not going to be a news video next week as I have to take care of family next weekend. And yes, it seems to be autumn as the hardware is falling from the trees at the moment. Plenty of news around that today. Well-oiled marketing machines give you one detail every now and then, so you start pining for the thing they want to sell you. Unlike Thrustmaster, who only gave us lights in different colors, but I digress. In line with that, the makers of Dakar Desert Rally would like you to know that those who go for the deluxe version of the game will be able to travel 40 years back in time and sit in the DAF Track Turbo Twin and Ari Vatanen's Peugeot 405 Turbo 16 from day one. For those too young to remember, Ari Vatanen won the Dakar Rally 4 times, 3 of them in the Peugeot, and the World Rally Championship once. Do Finns drink petrol as children, or why the heck are they so good? Ah, you mean it's the snow and ice they have to drive? Sounds about right. The deluxe edition will lower your bank account's life expectancy by 60 euro USD, but will bring not only these two vehicles but also the season pass, which will include 5 expected DLCs. It's here! Now you will be able to crash your car in Indonesia, the new DLC that came free of cost to everyone driving that very special rally game Art of Rally. At least on the PC version, console players will have to wait a bit, possibly because of the special round of QA console companies put onto software. Art of Rally Indonesia brings 6 new stages, 2 new songs and a partridge in a pear tree. Oh wait, too soon. I mean a free roam area. And yes, Indonesia Rally was part of the WRC in 1996 and 1997 and has been part of the Asia Pacific Rally Championship many years. I learned something new today. And is it strange that after all this time I'm still scared to drive into the stick figures that simulate spectators? Have you ever raced on GTR or GTR2? If not, you should. They were great sims for their time. Maybe you will be able to live or relive through all of that joy as Ian Bell, former SMS, announced this week his new project will be GTR Revival. Of course, it's not only his, as he also dropped names of the people who seemingly are going to also be working on that sim. One name stands out to us as Henrik Roos was the co-founder of Simbim, if we are correct, and other names are known for their work on GTR and or project cars. Oh, and the company is going to be called Mildly Annoyed Games, which is in line with deliciously quirky names. Slightly mad, mildly annoyed, sounds good. According to their press release, it's planned for consoles and PC and for now scheduled to Q4 2024, so we'll be seeing it about half to 1 year later. because software development is like that, not because anybody of the team is a slouch. The physics engine, again according to the press release, will be completely new, but the graphics engine will be Unreal 5. Modding will be very much supported, and they write in the release that it will be front and central in GTR Revival's design, which we at RomRom are very glad to hear. In line with the GTR sims, it's planned to bring the GTR driving school that, truth to be told, is something I've been missing from all the sims since then, as I personally loved it a lot. We'll have to see if it ends up being like Project Cars or like a real sim. But the roster of sims we can look forward to racing with is expanding. Hey, maybe we get the Leaf physics Iron Bell promised us for PC4? Fanatec is bringing a new, updated version of their CSL Elite pedals, which they call CSL Elite V2, because once you've established a name in people's minds, don't change it. As it's customary for mid-price pedals nowadays, they use Hall effect sensors which use magnets to know the pedal position. The whole construct is made of aluminium and looks great with that powder-coated finish they've given it. From the images we've seen, they have the typical industrial "you can't break this" look we're accustomed from Fanatec, and which I personally like, as I'm a follower of the form follows function school of thought. Interestingly enough, the parts have been cast, not 3D printed. May still be too expensive to 3D print en masse. As with the classic CSL pedals, the brake measures pressure rather than position, and while the standard setting out of the box simulates 90 kilos of needed pressure, you will be able to adjust it to whatever you need with a range of elastomer springs included with the brakes. You will be able to change the pedal faces to choose the ones you prefer from a set of rubber pads you can put over the pedals. As with the CSL Elite V1, you can use them together with a Fanatec wheelbase or as standalone pedals, the latter only on PC-based systems. If you use a Fanatec wheel, you will be able to set up the needed braking force through the tuning menu, otherwise you'll have to use the Fanatec control panel on your PC. You can also use it either as a 3-pedal set or as a 2-pedal set, as you will be able to change the positions of the pedals within the base. The CSL Elite V2 are already on the market for €300 USD. Yeah, yet another news tidbit about sim racing hardware. Logitech at last joins the ranks of the companies offering DD wheels. Seems they at last noticed they cannot offer a refurbished G25 forever with just some new number after the G and some marketing blah blah. Anyway, the Pro Racing wheel and the Pro Racing pedals are their newest product in the market. And they even got Lando Norris to say nice things about it, we suppose for the right amount of money. With a maximum of 11 Nm torque, Logitech's DD wheel sets itself slightly above Fanatec's CSL DD and way below Simucube's, Fanatec's and many others' full DD wheels. Granted, most sim racers don't use the full power of their DD wheels, and even I don't use the full 24 Nm of my DD all the time, so it's quite possible 11 Nm is more than enough for most people. Oh, but Logitech offered True Force, the marketing bullshit they invented some years ago, so it must be much more better, right? Right? Other than marketing blah blah, the wheel offers what is standard nowadays: magnetic gear shift paddles, quick release of the rim, customizable settings for every sim and game you want to use the wheel for. It strangely only offers 1080 degrees of turning though. On the plus side, you can store up to 5 settings directly in the memory of your wheel, so you don't have to fiddle with desktop software every time you change sims like in most other wheel systems. At the moment, there is only the one rim the system comes with available on the market, but we expect at least Logitech to start offering different rims at some point in the future. Also, added to the shifting paddles, the rim also brings a second set of paddles which you could use as a double clutch for race starts, or for disabled drivers you would use them for braking or accelerating, or as a handbrake. The version now being sold on their site, which for now is the only place you can buy it, has a desk clamp. A setup that should be okay for many desks considering the 11 Nm torque. Just make sure your desk can take it. The pedals, on the other hand, are just some standard load cell brake pedals as you can find everywhere these days. As always with Logitech, you can get them PS compatible or Xbox compatible, both versions being PC compatible anyway. The suggested retail price is going to be a whopping 1000 USD or 1100 euro for base and rim alone, and 350 euro USD for the pedals. In spite of all our criticism, we welcome yet another contender in the world of DD wheels, as competition pressure is always good in any market. By the looks of it, Nascar 22 Ignition will be a free DLC for owners of the Nascar 21 Ignition catastrophe. We suppose on one side to ease the pain of having been burned so heavily on that, and also to fulfill contractual obligations without having to put too much money and work on it. From October 6th on, console and PC versions of the game will let you download this DLC, and fitting to the release of the DLC, they are dropping the price of the game to 20 euro USD. It seems that 2022 season will also get its own season pass. If the DLCs for NASCAR, let's call it 22, are as bad as those for NASCAR 21, save yourself the money. Also, it seems that together with the DLC, they worked on updating the game, which brings new user interface elements and an upgrade of the HUD with tire wear and fuel indicators. The game also features newly recorded broadcast introductions. Of course, drivers, teams and paint schemes are those of this 2022 season, and the 3 next-gen cars from Chevrolet, Ford and Toyota come with it. I wonder if they will also catch fire the way some of them have in this past season. At least, motorsport games recognize their mistakes from the previous release, which they want to address with the DLC and see that they are not repeated. Which is perfectly okay. Making mistakes is human, as should be recognizing and correcting them. Interestingly enough, the 2022 content will also be delivered to NASCAR Heat 5 and mobile, but there it will be a paid extension. The trailer's cool though. On Tuesday, Raceroom dropped a small update fixing a small issue in the force feedback that made catching slow speed oversteer more difficult and allowing you to change the MGU map from inside the cockpit, as well as decoupling the battery consumption hybrid engine from the fuel use rate multipliers. Other than that, they did some fixes on DTM92 cars, did some small corrections on many cars and tuned the AI for the Formula Raceroom X17 and X22. They also improved the behavior of the AI on Imola, Interlagos and Twin Ring Motegi, touching up details on Zandvoort 2019 and Sepang. All the details as always in the link in our description. How did you enjoy the second round of the Automobilista 2 Community Cup? Didn't it look great? And the liveries? On the very impressive Daytona Roval, we saw a lot of action, a pinch of crashes, those corners aren't exactly easy, and a winner who dominated the race almost from the beginning, while behind him everyone was fighting for position. Once again, Drew Face won the race, and once again, Johnny B got second. Toka 2 Freak, the third in the first race, could not repeat the placing, with third place going to Barry this time. The results in Daytona established Curb Clippers in their first place on the standings, and other than adding more or less points to their list, the result of this second race don't change the positions of the communities relative to each other, with AMS Unofficial in second place and the Phoenix Racing Club on third. But with so many points a community can earn in a race, these positions are not set in stone by far, and we still have 4 races to go. And if you would like a piece of the action the next time, we can already tell you plans for the second season are on their way, and Just Race welcomes any and every community driving Automobilista 2 and willing to participate. Contact Jim at justrace.net like now. The next race will be in Kyalami on German Group A cars. It's going to be interesting to see those old boats handle the very technical Kyalami, and we are going to be there on the 11th of October. Hope to see you there again, you really don't want to miss it. Oh, and we'll have a surprise or two ready for our viewers, but shh, it's a secret. Help us create the content you love and become a patron. Let us spread our wings. Amongst other perks, it will fix your name for posterity like this, but you'll also get to know what we plan and what we're doing. So a big thank you to our patrons. If you come here regularly, please consider subscribing. So wait, I thought we only got summer and winter updates on this. Well, it seems there was so much ready for Beam.NG that the team decided to do a big, and we mean big, release in the autumn. We're not protesting, as these updates bring always more Beam.NG and therefore more opportunities to crash in style. And if not in style, at least in fun ways. Or funny ways. Anyway, here we go. As the option system has been redone heavily, we recommend you go to the options first to see that everything is set up as you want it to. The Ibishu Covet has not only been updated, it has been completely remastered. New 3D model, reworked textures, and a fresh coat of paint on the design, and even a turbo which you can use in the racing, rally and street configurations. And there's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive model too. Also, you will now be able to open the doors, hood and trunk. The shift to change has been animated and the odometer now works. While the Ibishu got the most work done, other cars also got some updates with new wheel types and animated manual shifters coming to almost all cars, and sequential shifters too. And even a beam box where you can put suitcases or backpacks. Added to that, you can now litter the landscape with props like large tires, barriers and hay bales. And doors and hoods got realistic sounds, as do gear shifts and different surface types. One update I'm not so fond of is the addition of motion blur. I realize people like to have it as it enhances their sense of speed, but I've always found motion blur in games to be unrealistic and rather cinematic. Hey, you do you, I don't need to activate it if I don't like it. Beam.NG's team continues their work on better and much improved graphics, this time having work on Foliage, The Garage, Italy and West Coast. And in case you want to use a lot of traffic and your GPU is getting to its limits, you can add simplified versions of the other cars, thus relieving your GPU while putting more cars on the road. On the other side of the game, there's now a new type of mission available. Chase, and new missions have been added to West and East Coast, ETK Driver Experience Center and Utah, amongst other places. Also, they have introduced a completely new gamut of physics by starting with a hydraulic system that is as realistic as possible. It will encompass any kind of pumps, accumulators, valves and cylinders. What you can find in the game right now is but a first try, and the developers assure us they will expand on this thoroughly in future versions. Also, you can activate a force field to your car in the fun stuff section, so you can push cars away that come too near to you. Wish I had that in real life. Mod makers, be aware the torque script context is going to be removed soon. For now, you'll only get warnings, but at some point in the near future, it's going to get dropped completely. Some other stuff has been tweaked also for mod makers, like moving most settings to JSON format and changes in Lua. For details, check the release notes. To finish this long list, the world editor has been improved and a separate vehicle editor introduced as experimental release. And if you still don't have enough and want to read all the details, the links as always in the description of this video. And because you don't have enough of us, right? Check the playlist to the left or the video to the right. Until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium.